In the 1970s, the American car market was a tough battleground. Automakers faced intense competition, rising oil prices, and a growing demand for smaller, more fuel-efficient cars. These pressures left car companies scrambling to stay ahead. Ford, one of the biggest names in the industry, saw an opportunity to create an affordable and compact car that would appeal to the average American family. The result was the Ford Pinto, a car designed to be cheap, practical, and widely accessible. However, behind its seemingly innocent appearance, the Pinto had a fatal flaw. It would go on to become one of the most infamous cars in history, associated with tragic accidents, lawsuits, and a scandal that exposed serious safety oversights in the automotive industry. The Ford Pinto wasn't just a failure. It became a symbol of what can happen when cutting costs outweighs protecting lives. This is the chilling story of the Ford Pinto, a car so dangerous that its design flaws led to its effective ban around the world, and a permanent scar on the reputation of the auto industry. The Ford Pinto was created during a time of fierce competition in the automotive industry. Japanese companies like Toyota and Honda were making a big impact in the United States with their small, fuel-efficient cars, and American automakers felt the pressure to keep up. Ford, determined to stay on top, knew it needed to act quickly. The company's solution was the Ford Pinto, a car designed to be affordable, compact, and a direct rival to the popular imports. Normally, developing a new car took around 43 months, but Ford's leadership, led by CEO Lee Iacocca, decided to drastically speed things up. They cut the design and production timeline down to just 25 months. While this saved time, it left little room for thorough testing or careful adjustments to the car's design. One of the most critical oversights in this rushed process was the placement of the fuel tank. To save money and maximize space, Ford's engineers placed the tank only about 10 inches from the rear bumper. Even worse, the fuel tank wasn't given extra reinforcements to protect it in the event of a rear-end collision. This design flaw made the Pinto extremely vulnerable to serious accidents, as the tank could easily be punctured, leading to devastating fires. Ford's haste to compete ultimately came at a high cost, both in human lives and the company's reputation. Here's how the tragedy unfolded. In the event of a rear-end collision, the Ford Pinto's fuel tank was extremely vulnerable to damage. The tank was located so close to the rear of the car that it could be punctured by metal bolts and sharp edges from the vehicle's frame during an impact. Once the fuel tank ruptured, gasoline could leak out, creating a highly dangerous situation. If there was even the smallest spark, whether from the exhaust system, faulty wiring, or the friction of the metal scraping together, the leaking gasoline could ignite, causing the car to burst into flames almost instantly. Other car manufacturers, like Volkswagen and Toyota, had already taken steps to prevent these kinds of disasters. They used protective barriers around their fuel tanks or positioned them in safer locations to reduce the risk of leaks during a crash. But Ford chose to ignore these safety measures. Instead, the company focused on cutting costs and producing the Pinto as quickly as possible. This decision to put speed and budget ahead of safety turned out to be a catastrophic mistake, resulting in accidents that led to serious injuries, tragic deaths, and one of the biggest scandals in automotive history. The consequences of the Pinto's flawed design were devastating. Between 1971 and 1980, the car was involved in numerous rear-end collisions, many of which turned fatal. When the fuel tank ruptured and ignited, the results were often tragic. Estimates suggest that somewhere between 27 and 180 people lost their lives directly due to the fiery explosions caused by these crashes. In addition, hundreds of others were left with severe, life-changing injuries. One of the most heartbreaking incidents involved a 3-year-old child who tragically burned to death after the family's Pinto was rear-ended. This and other horrifying stories captured public attention and sent shockwaves across the nation. People were outraged as more and more reports of similar accidents came to light. The mounting death toll and gut-wrenching accounts of survivors fueled public anger and led to widespread demands for justice and accountability. What had started as Ford's attempt to compete in the compact car market had turned into a national scandal, exposing the deadly cost of prioritizing profits over people's safety. What truly outraged the public about the Ford Pinto case wasn't just the dangerous design flaw, it was the company's heartless and calculated decision-making that came to light. During legal battles, a shocking internal document, later nicknamed the Pinto Memo, was revealed. This memo showed that Ford had conducted a detailed cost-benefit analysis regarding the faulty fuel tank. In this analysis, Ford determined that fixing the issue, which would have cost an estimated $11 per car, was not worth the expense when compared to the projected cost of settling lawsuits for deaths and injuries caused by the defect. This revelation exposed the company's willingness to prioritize profits over the safety of its customers. The cold logic of this decision outraged the nation, turning the Pinto case into a symbol of corporate greed and sparking a scandal that would tarnish Ford's reputation for years. The reaction to the Ford Pinto scandal was quick and harsh. By the mid-1970s, safety groups were calling for immediate action. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration began an investigation, and in 1978, Ford had to recall 1.5 million Pintos to address the problem. Around the world, many countries either banned the Pinto or introduced strict regulations for its use. Ford's reputation suffered greatly, and the Pinto's poor image led to its quiet discontinuation by 1980. The Ford Pinto scandal became a turning point in automotive safety and corporate ethics. It highlighted the dangers of prioritizing profits over human lives, sparking widespread outrage that led to significant changes. Stricter crash test regulations were introduced, pushing automakers to prioritize safety and better protect their customers. The scandal also played a key role in shaping the modern idea of corporate social responsibility, emphasizing that companies have a duty to care for the well-being of their customers and the public. Today, the Pinto is remembered as one of the biggest failures in automotive history. It stands as a grim warning of what can happen when a company's focus on profit outweighs its commitment to safety and ethics. Despite its flaws, the Pinto's legacy has helped drive progress in creating safer cars and holding corporations accountable for their decisions. The Pinto remains a symbol of both innovation and caution, a reminder of how important safety and ethics are in the automotive world. The Ford Pinto is more than just a car, it's a powerful lesson. It shows how cutting corners on safety can lead to tragedy and scandal, but also drive important changes. Let's hope the lessons from its story are never forgotten. If you enjoyed learning about this piece of automotive history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Tell us in the comments which car scandals you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching.